that wasn't such a great night. I bought a number of lady drinks at number 5 bar. Bugger all for them, really. I just don't think there's much value in that place. It's a sucker bar if you buy lady drinks. So, and I'm relatively sober, so I know what's going on. And then I went to the office, and Lil, who has always been my rock when it comes to playing pool, she passed me off on this girl who had absolutely no personnel and played pool with me. There's no way I was going to buy her a lady drink. Then on top of that, when I'm about to leave, because I've just, I didn't really enjoy the girl's company at all. She had zero personality. So I asked for the bill, and they give me some ridiculous bill. It's about 400 and something. I bought one drink. It's 55,000 supposed to be. They gave me the wrong bill, the dickheads. And Johan turned up, and he was actually getting on well with one of the girls there, and that's fine. He was groping and having a bit of fun. He'll pay for it, but at least he's getting more than he got at number 5 bar, which is, like I say, it's a sucker bar. You don't get anything. It's titillation, that's it. But at least at the office, there's a bit of touchy-feely stuff, so you're getting something for your money. But I was very disappointed that Lil wouldn't play pool with me. She always has in the past, and for some reason tonight she palmed me off on some new girl who, like I said, had the personality of a speed bump. Seriously, just terrible. So I think stuff it. Look, I might see what's happening with Grab, but I don't like them because they charged me $48,000 for a Grab bike back, and the bloody venison cabs cost $40. So why would you bother with a bike? It's crazy. But I'll just see what they've got on offer, and I'll use them if they're actually decent, if they're cheaper. But otherwise, stuff them. Oh, that's my preferred bang me place, and they're flat chat at the moment. It's just before 8 o'clock, and the thing about being over here is when you do your shopping, you're better to wait later, because Vietnamese generally like to get all their shopping out of the way early on, and that's the same thing with the co-ops, with the supermarkets. Exactly the same deal. So this is just a little shortcut I take to get down to the bang me place, rather than going along the main road past the school. I go this way. It's a little easier, a little less foot traffic, and you can always walk down the pathway. That's the luxury. Thing is, when you go along the road, you always have to, half the time you're on the road itself, because there's something obscuring the actual footpath. But down these little pathways, down these alleyways, it's generally pretty clear. You just got to dodge motorbikes, which you can see millions of those around here. This is pretty typical. There's all of these alleyways everywhere throughout District 1. There's stacks of them. It's just the Vietnamese way. So, and these people could probably spend a lot of their time just shopping and living in this area, because there's a lot of little small businesses along the way. So now we're just heading out to the main road again, and back in the real world. But yeah, there wasn't any great advantage of starting early today. Just thought I'd give it a go. But yeah, it's something I find that you're better off waiting till later in the morning. You do your co-op shopping, better to wait for lunch hour, because actually that's another thing, they even eat earlier too. I've seen Vietnamese eating at about 11:30 in the morning. So I find actually the best time to shop at the co-op is lunch hour. It's just counterintuitive in the West. It's one of the busiest times because your staff's off, because they're taking their lunch breaks. So I always avoid shopping then when I'm back home. But here, different experience, but that's typical. Went out to number 5 last night. Still jaded with the whole bar girl scene, I'm a bit over it all, and Johan was going crazy as usual with splashing the cash. I mean, I got a pizza out of him. He's very, very generous. I didn't really want to eat, but I was actually looking at eating pizza in Bali, so it was sort of fortuitous. So I got half of his pizza. That wasn't bad. But yeah, there's this thing about bar girls, paying for their attention. It just bores the crap out of me. It'd be nice to actually make something a little more substantial in relationship terms. It doesn't do much for me, and the opportunity of that happening there is pretty slim, because these girls are jaded themselves. They were dealing with all these middle-aged guys, and a lot of them drunk. I wasn't last night. I used to restrain myself, and I left before the end of happy hour, and I drank slightly, and I'm feeling fine. So it's a much better outcome for me. I'm much happier. But Johan was giving me a hard time, thinking I'm a misery guts and everything. He's not going to talk to me unless I cheer up. He likes niggling you. He's one of these guys who sort of likes to get a rise out of you. But I already told him I am a bit over the bar girl thing, and I only went to the number 5 bar yesterday because to catch up with him, really, because otherwise not interested. I prefer to talk to an expat than talk to one of the girls, unless it's a reasonable conversation, but that's hard because of the accents, the ambient sound, lack of language skills. That's why I enjoyed the Indonesian where I could have a chat to someone like Kimberly, who's an optometrist. She's got worldly sort of person, a bit of a hippie, but she seems like a nice person, and just someone good to have a chat with. She's a rapid talker too, which is not really great, but she's actually an interesting person to chat to. So a lot of the people there bore the crap out of me, but it was good. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe going to the zoo today. Depends how I feel. But I wouldn't mind checking it out. A bit of greenery, a bit of botanic garden action. I think that'd go down well. After all this hardcore urban living, it'd be a nice change. Still work in progress on the corner there. It's been like that for over a week. So I don't know when they're going to get fixed, finished, whatever. It looks pretty temporary compared to the building behind it, the bank building. Prime location, I think. Yeah, it's just before 5 o'clock, and the roads in Saigon are pretty quiet. My first grab actually cancelled on me, but I think it's because it wouldn't allow me to put my PIN number in first off for some reason, so that makes sense. So I had to just re-log in. So, yeah, it's just before 5, and I'll get there with 3 hours to spare, no hassles at all. But yeah, even this hour there's a few cars around. It's pretty quiet. This is Saigon at around 5 AM on a Monday morning. Pretty empty streets. Yeah, check-in was reasonably easy. The lift here was fine. It's just after 5, and you can see there's a huge crowd to go through immigration. So no rush. I've got plenty of time. So I might wait till it actually thins out a little bit. Yeah, it's a lot of people here. Nearly all the Vietnamese are wearing masks, and of course Aussies aren't. Well, I assume they're Aussies, I don't know. They're certainly Westerners anyway. So anyway, the journey continues. This will be my second last stop, and then I'll finally be back home. Amazing. Anyway, that's... Phew, I got myself a window seat too, apparently, so that's nice. Next major hassle will be the taxi, getting a taxi to my place in Denpasar, so we'll see how we go. Right, I'm in finally down at the departure waiting area, just where they take the shuttle buses out to the planes. Reasonably quiet here. I'm pretty early. It's only about pushing 6 o'clock. I don't know. I just turned my my phone off. I'll just get it back powered up. I think it's around 6 o'clock. So all that crap's out of the way. You come across some dumbasses at the airport. I'll tell you, some dumbass passengers. There's a couple in front of me in the passport check line, and they got almost right up to where the actual guy was doing the actual checking, and then they decided to leave. They're also the same people who used a trolley, brought a trolley into an area where it had a big sign saying no trolleys beyond this point, so they decided to bring their trolley along, and the guy was wearing the cap with it turned back in Leighton Ewan style. Yeah, dumbasses. I think they were French. There's a lot of French flying today, and there was another dumbass. It's a young girl coughing the lungs out, waiting in passport control line, and I came across her after I went through security. Actually, I had hassles with security today too. In the past, I put the computer in at Saigon Airport. I didn't have to remove my computer from the bag, which you have to do nearly everywhere else. But today they decided to do it, so I had to go through again. I also had to put my phone and camera in separately as well, so they gave me a hard time. But it didn't take long to get through, and they were polite, I'll give them that. So, but I guess they want to be inconsistent anyway. They don't want to be too predictable with these things. It makes it a bit of a farce of your protocols with security. But yeah, I've got an hour and a half to wait before we're supposed to board. And so we got a message from Vietjet the other day. It looked like it had an attachment I couldn't open, and it said it's important information, so I thought they must have changed the flight, but they haven't. So that's good. So everything's okay, apart from having to deal with dumbasses, and hopefully that young French girl who's the one who should be wearing a mask, because she could be contagious. Who knows? No one's checking temperatures here. That's a bit of a joke anyway, but I don't think it really achieves much. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. This woman just coughing her lungs out. But nearly every Vietnamese is wearing masks, which is actually what the contagious person should be doing. So it's sort of skew-if that way. So anyway, I'll be one step closer to home later today. I'll be in Bali, and hopefully I won't get a really shonky taxi into the city, and everything will be okay. Because once I get to where I'm staying, I know it'll be quite nice, because they're good people and they'll look after me. And then it's back to boring old Cairns on Friday. Anyway, get a nice view of the planes from here, as opposed to Phuket Airport, where they've got all the retail lined up there for most of it. But yeah, oh well, ready to go. Another flight, second last flight for a while, and yeah, see how things pan out in Bali. Just waiting for our bus to arrive to shuttle us off to the electric plane as the crew and pilots went off in a minivan. So we're just in this little enclave area waiting for the bus. So eventually you'll get here, I guess. But we're usually pretty good at boarding on time compared to Jetstar, I'll give them that. Yeah, about 7:30 now, shouldn't be much longer. I'm on board the plane, about to head off to Bali. Actually, I slept pretty well last night. I normally have a terrible night's sleep before an early flight, but it's okay. So it's good. Always can be window seat right near the wing, but I'm not paying for it, so I can't complain. Anyway, hopefully we'll get off fairly soon.